We just got back from a 4-day trip to Crater Lake, and these are our top 3 things that you guys, well,
no,
not you guys, but you people on the internet should go do when you're going to Crater Lake. Roll it.
So Crater Lake National Park is located in southern Oregon, down close to the border of California. It's about 5 miles across and about almost 2,000 feet deep. It's
1,943 feet deep.
And it was created by an ancient volcano. Mount Mazama, which is actually the campground that's located inside the park, is named that as well.
So a little informative on how the crater was formed. I guess the giant volcano erupted and it blew up, and then it all collapsed back down into itself and then created the actual crater, and then that filled up with water.
And it's actually called it's not...
Oh, caldera, not crater.
Yes.
Because there was no asteroid.
Yes. So there's two entrances, north and south entrance. And to get into the park, you must pay, if you're in a vehicle, it's $30 for the car, and it's actually good for 7 days. And this is on top of any reservations that you have camping or even staying at the resort there. So just be aware.
You got to back up, because as you're coming into the park and you come in and you're going down this long straight road, and then there's this little booth with a little dude in it, and there's a flagpole with a
female
with a person, and there's a giant flagpole with an American flag. It's very picturesque when you're coming in. You get up to the booth, the guy has his cool national gear outfit on. It was pretty cool.
And by national gear, that is ranger outfit. So you want to make sure that you book far in advance, because it does fill up. And for some reason, how their system works, I don't know if it's because of COVID or what, they do not cancel. So like when we were staying there was a lot of empty spots, but they were actually reserved. So even if you were just to drop in, they can't give those spots away because of that reservation. So book far in advance.
It used to be first come, first serve, but now it's all reservation.
Yeah, and we did it 1 year in advance, actually. So you can, unlike the state parks, which is 6 months, you can book out farther.
Another thing to keep in mind is the entire park is between 6,000 and 8,000 feet. And we're coming from sea level, and when we got to the park, we were I was definitely a little bit winded and slightly dizzy, especially if I got up really fast. Yeah, and after a couple of days, the elevation seemed to be okay.
We took our rooftop tent trailer and stayed 4 nights at the
Mazama Campground.
Yes, and it was a cool little pull through. Worked out great for us. Really enjoyed it. Starting at the top, our number 3 was the Watchman Tower Trail. It is a nice steep incline with a lot of switchbacks, very dry area, but
the trail's probably a good 3 to 4 feet across, so it's nice and easy.
So the hike has lots of great views and benches. Then you can check out the whole lake, and then the pumice fields on the opposite side of the lake. It's really nice. And the watchtower up on top is pretty impressive.
Yeah, so you actually park at the Watchman Overlook parking lot, and that's at 7,600 feet. And then you climb about 400 feet up to the tower. Although the tower was closed when we got there, but there's still a lot of cool places to overlook.
Yeah, and the parking at the trailhead looks right down onto Wizard Island.
So on our way down, we saw, which I think is called the Clark's Nutcracker. It's a gray bird, it has some white feathers on it, but it came down and they break apart the pine cones or whatever the tree cones are, and some relationship between the bird and the tree, and the tree actually needs the bird to break the cones apart in order for it to get the seeds out. Yeah. And we just happened to see one of those do that one on our way down from the Watchman Tower.
Number 2.
The
Pinnacles, and I'm going to butcher this name, Plaiknai Falls. No clue how to actually say it. So
if you're looking at the crater, or the caldera, it's over on the east side. And so you take the road around and you take the unmarked road. And that's when...
I was just going to say, it's like the turnoff is right after the main ranger headquarters, that side road.
Yes, to get on the road that goes around.
Yeah.
But the road actually to get to the falls and out to the Pinnacles didn't have any signage for whatever reason.
Zero.
So, but it's pretty much the only road to the right.
Plaikni Trailhead. It's a nice, easy, 2 miles in, pretty much flat or slight in grade until the very end when you hit the waterfall. And it was worth it.
I think they actually said a wheelchair could go.
Yeah.
The last bit might be a little hard, but.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the falls, there was a spot where we could take our shoes off and put our feet in. And the coldest water of any water on planet Earth. That actually, like, within seconds, it was actually numbing and painful.
It is from the snow melt.
It felt good, but it only felt good for a second.
Yeah, and they said it's from the snow melt. So, yeah, super cold.
And on that trail, there's a lot of giant trees, and it actually is really nice.
Lots of ground squirrels. And you might think, what's a ground squirrel? Well, a ground squirrel looks like a chipmunk, but without striped faces.
Yes. And do not feed the animals,
Yes.
even though they look very cute and they come on. I think a lot of people feed them because they like to do this, but don't feed them. Yeah. According to the rangers, there's about 52 black bears living in Crater Lake National Park, hoping to see one, but from the car, but we didn't.
So after the falls, we just went back out onto Pinnacle Road and took that to the very end, and that is where the massive pinnacles were. Massive.
So the trail out to the Pinnacles is pretty easy and pretty short. So.
And you can view the pinnacles all along the trail. So.
You'll just have to go see them for yourself. But definitely go see them.
And number 1.
Save best for last.
Yeah. Cleetwood Trail. And that...
Cleetwood Cove Trail.
Okay. And that was hiking down the crater walls down to the lake itself and swimming.
Yeah. The trail's not the cool part. The cool part is you get to swim in the lake.
Yes. It is definitely a steep downhill climb. I think it was 1.5 mile or 1.1 miles down, 1.1 up.
Close to 700 feet.
So just be prepared on your way back up. It is a little strenuous hike.
So when you get to the park, there's actually a pretty giant parking lot there, which I didn't expect. And there's actually multiple sets of
vault toilets.
Yeah, pretty nice looking bathroom. I didn't go inside, but they look nice. So from the parking lot, if you head across the street, they've got a little ranger station there at the top of the trailhead. And I don't know if they do it all the time, but when we were there were 2 rangers, and they'd basically almost like a safety briefing.
Yeah, you had to basically walk by them, and they went through the rules, like, only your body is allowed in the water, and clothing, obviously, no like GoPros or goggles or anything, because they want to keep the lake as clean and as possible, and absolutely no feeding the squirrels, because man, oh man. Yeah. They would run up to your stuff, get in your backpack, so you got to be a little bit careful about that. And they wanted to remind you also, take water, because it might look like it's a quick trip, but it definitely is a work. It's considered strenuous.
Do plan for at least 3 hours. We were there for a little over 3.5 hours total, but we did about 1 hour and 15 minutes of hiking, and the good majority of that was going back up.
They have an area where you can jump off of the rocks. It's a 20-foot drop-off.
20 feet doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're looking at it, it's insane. It's totally insane.
The other thing is, when you get down there is no like sandy beachy area to sit at. And getting to the water, you still have to climb down all these huge boulders. So just watch your footing. Actually, we wish we had brought our water shoes. I don't know if it was because of COVID, but there actually is bathrooms down at the base, but they were closed at this time. So the rangers also said, do not use the lake as a potty. Try to hold it.
So regarding the cliff, it actually is kind of the main attraction. Everybody seemed to be drawn down there. Even though it's really high, really scary, the group we were with, a 10-year-old girl, she was really gung-ho about jumping. People, just the other visitors down there were really cool. And one of the guys that jumped right before her was like, hey, I'm a lifeguard. And so he jumped down there along with 3 other people, and they kind of made a half circle, and then she launched off of there.
Yeah, made us feel a little bit better about that.
Not much better, but a little bit better, yeah. She did it twice as well.
Loved it.
This area is the same area where you would catch a boat if you're taking one of the tours.
The boat tours, they go to Wizard Island, where you can actually get dropped off and hike Wizard Island. So.
And fun fact, in order to get anything in there, including the boats, they have to bring them in with a giant helicopter. So those were our top 3 things that you pretty much should be doing if you go to Crater Lake. I'm sure there's others, but do at least those. And if you could do 4, make sure you stay at Mazama Campground. Yeah. It's right inside of the national park. It's a couple hundred feet down, so you're a little bit lower, but it's really close to everything.
Lots of camp loops, lots of spots. Each loop has their own bathroom. Hiker, bikers, so you get to see lots of Pacific Crest Trail hikers coming through that spend the night there.
Yeah, so the Pacific Crest Trail goes right around Crater Lake, but most of the hikers take a little offshoot to get to the crater so they could go check it out. And they have a big hiker-biker area that all the hikers, and there's kind of a lodge area when you first come into the park, and that's where they all congregated because there's a little store where they could get drinks and stuff, but then they had a charging station, a wall of plugs, and there was like 4,000 phones, and then their backpacks were lined up against the wall. It was pretty cool. So one thing regarding the hikers, obviously they're hiking all day, and then they all kind of come together at night and they see their friends. They can have a tendency to be a little louder, so if you want to be a quieter thing, to try and choose a spot or try and get to a spot that's a little farther away. Yeah. We were literally right across the street from them. They were loud, but it wasn't bad.
Right in the campground is a trailhead. It's called Annie's Creek Trail. It's between the D and E loop. Starts right by the amphitheater. It is pretty awesome too. It's downhill, but once you get down, it's like lush green and foresty area with a creek running through it. It's not terrible. It's like 2 miles round trip, I think, and
a little strenuous, but not bad. And there is no view of the crater or the caldera or anything, so there's hardly any people.
Every single campsite has a picnic table, fire pit, and bear locker. Use it. They said that's one of the things, I think, why they haven't seen many bears in the campsites was because people were putting their stuff in the bear lockers. You could also put in your vehicle, which we did because we had so much.
Yeah, the locker is literally like next to your picnic table.
Yeah.
It's not like in a communal area, but they're literally in each site. And it's big enough for 2 big coolers. We have a 65, Arctic 65, and it could fit in there.
And garbage cans actually have a fancy bear lid thing as well. So yeah, just be very careful about storage of your food. Definitely check out Crater Lake. Add it to your bucket list. I would plan a minimum of 2 days, 3, as much time as you can.
And if you're interested in our rooftop tent trailer or anything, our camping gear, what we like to use, you can head over to exploretrekadventure.com, and we've got everything listed there.
Yep. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.